What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 35 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Fay Enchantress Old World Classic campaign. So as we saw last time, we have made our way down into the Badlands and are starting to take territory away from the Greenskins to try to save Teclis and I guess just resolve the whole situation down here. In a similar vein, we have started to attack the pirates of Sartosa, and of course have taken down Bellicor with Bertrand the Brigand's army in a nasty little ambush. Unfortunately for Bellicor, his army was already damaged, having fought presumably the elves here at a bowler hat, and well, he wasn't going to survive that anyway. Oh, the border gore here is also terrible. AI, please. Fix your own damn border gore. Hopefully we can help them fix it by swapping some of this stuff around. Not that it matters over much, it just, you know, slightly bothers me. Anyway, in terms of, oh, and we also took down Dastan Kolda, which was pretty fun, as again, Dajiso got a little bit more time to show off his fancy outfit and a fancier hippogriff. Anyway, there are two things that we gotta do at, well, actually, probably more than two things. We're about halfway through the turn. As I recall, there are a couple of battles to fight and a couple more things to move around. Leo Armistead, I believe you were the next one to be moved, ignoring the other fights. So, the question is, well, I guess we're heading you out this way together with everybody else. So you go into this, oh right, the frickin' reef attrition. Damn you, reef attrition. All right, go out here. You'll leave through Spineport, I guess, rather than through Videnza. And much as I'd like to move Chilfoy next, Repanse is next. And Repanse next means that we're not fighting that little orky battle. We're finally going to get her sword. It's been a long time coming. So let's level her up and let's do that quest battle. You can have Aura of the Lady. Buff up, ooh, yes, Retinue Physician, long last, that'll help us. And you can have, I'm gonna say start with Lady's Mantle, move to Righteous Fury afterwards. And then you can do the exact same thing. You have Retinue Physician, let's go Lady's Mantle, and then Righteous Fury afterwards. In a similar fashion, you, Mr. Henri, I did switch you out to the Grail Shield, so you should be a little bit tankier. You have plentiful armor. Ward save's still only at 16, though. If we get another Talisman of Preservation, we only have one, then it would probably help you out. I wonder if there's any kind of banner that we could get that would give you some missile resistance. That would really be nice for you. Anyway, you were going through Blessing of the Lady for that tankiness, though admittedly Selective Abhorrence and Self-Centered both give you very nice buffs as well. Anyway, Repanse, you were the last. And you can grab Stand Your Ground. We don't need Guided by the Lady in this army since we use the Luminarchs for, well, stuff. And we don't really need Chivalric Code either, technically speaking, because we have no Grail Knights of any kind here. Yeah. Alright, well then, it is time. I don't even know if I've ever done this quest, so I don't remember what to expect. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. I don't remember what happened with the Repanse and Lewin's last campaign. Anyway, let's see what this says. Following in the footsteps of the old questing knight who previously wielded her mighty sword, Repanse journeys to a desert far from home. Like the knight before her, she comes to aid an honorable throng of dwarfs in their fight against unholy forces. Though they have managed to survive against the undead hordes for generations, even amongst the hardships of the desert, word has been received that they are now in trouble. While tracking them, she encounters an oasis beside which grows a lily akin to the fleur-de-lis that grows abundantly in Bretonnia, a reassuring sign that even here the lady watches over Repanse and will smile upon her champion's actions this day. Granted, not smile enough to let her, you know, drink the bathwater, but, you know. Anyway, we can't teleport because we need 500 gold. Okay, you know what? Then I guess I'm wrong. We do have to move Folka or somebody. Somebody grab a little money, please. You go here. Loot the carcass. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Auto-resolve. And yeah, that poor little unit of flares is going to keep taking more damage until these guys can evolve to flares. Sad though it may be. Take the cash. Just in case we don't get cash from this, but I think we should. Skipper and 6,000 treasury. Good. You can actually reach the fell cargo, which would actually allow Chilfoy to go here, though I'm a little bit wary of what's over here. What if there's a full stack? Guess we're about to find out. Oh, it's Gentleman Jenkins. That ain't as great. Sail to the wreck. Still ought to resolve it because I'm not wasting the time. And this time take execute captives just in case. Decent likelihood Gentleman Jenkins attacks us next turn. But if it happens, it happens. On the bright side, we got a decent chunk of change out of it. And oh, we are not suffering attrition. But why? I guess to land sea is shallow enough so that you don't suffer great ocean attrition. Well, isn't that lovely? Alright, go right here. I want to see what's in Thanta's store. Looks like nobody, but it will take some effort to bring it down. And we'll see if Gentleman Jenkins... Whoa. What is this? Buccaneers? Oh, I want these guys. Wait. Guys, which mod? How do I get these guys? Not in this run, obviously. Grog carriers, pirate gunnery mob, pirate deckhands, buccaneers with great weapons. I want this for Sartosa. I want to play Sartosa with access to all these additional pirate units and not have to rely on undead. Don't get me wrong, I love undead, but I want a living pirate run. And they have non-rotting Prometheans, the things that Sartosa should have had in the first place. Wait, is this? No, but we haven't been seeing Sartosa use these things. Okay, so one of the mods I have is clearly doing this. I assume it's Mixu's Legendary Lords that's doing this and is giving Gentleman Jenkins stuff, but it is also providing him units. And these are SFO statted units, so it is one of the mods that have a sub-mod, clearly. Okay, if anybody can let me know about this, that would really help me out a lot.
Eternal devotion.
That would be just swell. Anyway, I got completely distracted and I forgot what I'm talking about. You can go through at Naval. Let's level up because I've never encountered those troops, so I'm wary of how much damage we might take fighting them. I'm a bit concerned, in fact. Especially as we're damaged. Sons of Bretonnia, you have maxed out replenished troops. We need to get to Sons of Bretonnia, but let's see. You have the Earthblood basic variant. You have the Foz protection maxed out, eh? Alright, I'm gonna say Earthblood into Son of Bretonnia, and then you maybe put the second 2 points into Foz protection. The thing is, Overcast Foz protection is really good, and Earthblood is not as good here because while it does offer a decent amount of healing, at the same time it is without Life Bloom, since we have Exorcism as the passive, which is garbage, absolute garbage, and therefore, yeah. I would have taken literally any other lore passive. I think this is the worst one. Immunity to Psychology is A, pretty easy to get, and B, it's just meh. In this particular case. Granted, it's useful for the peasants, but wheresoever there is a Grail relic, we have immunity to Psychology, which makes it irrelevant for us. But anyway, can't have everything. What do you still have levels? Oh, Fulcar himself still got levels. You, sir. I got you your items. Yeah, you got items. You got items. Oh, actually, speaking of items, this is quite funny. Or at least I find it quite funny. 1 second. You want to start buffing up your peasants, I think. Or wait, you've already got lowborn militia, so I guess move through Glorfiniel's progeny. This does nothing for us, so yeah, let's go for Glorfiniel's progeny. We gotta get these guys, and they're foot knights, so, well, I'm sure we'll be fine. And the thing is, this army does currently have Curse of Cannibalism, so it'll be fine. Very chivalrous thing to do, you know, eat other people. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the funny. So whenever I get Gotrek and Felix, I always find it hilarious to make Gotrek so insanely tanky that he can never die. Just buffing up his armor to insane degrees, giving him everything to make him impossible to kill. Because A, it's lorefully appropriate, but B, him being the worst slayer is just hilarious to me. And so in that light, in this particular campaign, I decided to give him A, the accursed armor, dropping his speed, but we can A, counteract it with the Banner of Swiftness, and B, he still moves at roughly infantry speed. So yeah, it'll make him slow, but still fast for a dwarf, so it doesn't matter. It also massively increases his melee defense on top of this silly 215 armor. Then, on top of that, I gave him the Seed of Rebirth for healing, and the Iron Warden's Tankard for double healing, so he has dual regeneration, plus the third regeneration that he gets out of being present and beside Felix. And he has the Chalice of Malfleur, buffing up his battle healing cap to 500%, and yeah, he's basically unkillable now. I was considering giving this to the Fay Enchantress, but she's a caster, she doesn't really need it that much, and she's already pretty monstrous just by virtue of when we bother to cast things, melting things away. And Gotrek, I think, while the loss of the melee attack is felt, 61 is pretty low for him, he will get an additional 12 melee attack out of Deadly Blade, an additional 5 out of Blade Master, and I think there should be a little bit more out of something, but we'll see. Either way, he'll be fine. And more than fine, unkillable. Too bad we can't take him into the battle. Now we have the money to teleport, although now that we got money, whatever, I'll deal with it later. And I can't believe we haven't gotten a single materials at sea. We've actually picked up a fair few islands over the course of the campaign, especially lately. Sort of Lyonesse. We have read the stuff, and away we go. Teleport? Teleport. Alright, what do we have here? Some Tomb King. Oh, they got a Hyro Titan. Oh, that's what I like to see. Oh, my beloved Sepulchral Stalkers. One of my favorite units in the entire game. Yeah, I love those guys. But anyway, oh, wow, that's a lot of dwarves. We don't need this anywhere near this many dwarves helping out. Unless it's like that thing where keep these guys alive, in which case, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Well, let's find out, go. Even far from home, Repanse continues to answer her divine calling, for the Lady of the Lake demands all undead abominations be vanquished where they may be found. After a tough journey into the Atalan Mountains, the Chevalier have made a timely arrival, and the dwarfs are in grave need of Repanse's help.
Warriors of Lyonesse, behold! Even here, the Lady watches over the brave and the righteous. The signs are clear. Just as in Coron, when we rode forth to vanquish the evil that threatened to overcome it, we must do so again. The beleaguered dwarves need our help, and now, like us, they fight against the undead horrors of this land to rid it of its taint. The Lady compels us to lend our hands to this noble fight. Chevaliers, charge! What?
Alrighty, here we go. I find it somewhat interesting that Repanse in her speech refers to the time they rode out to Kuhan. I want to say, and she says we, because in terms of the context and timeline of this game, that was hundreds of years ago. Nobody alive there would remember that, not even the Grail Knights, so yeah. But anyway, what's important is that this is, unfortunately, by the looks of it, an escort-like quest. We have three, count them, three, tiny little dwarf armies which are already getting absolutely annihilated, and the quest, though you can't see it in the replay, says basically they must survive. I don't know about that, but what that does mean is we have to close the distance with as many of them as possible, as quickly as possible. So we will split our single entities and our knights. 3 knights moving down to one army, 2 knights moving down to the other, and then Henri and Repanse moving down to the furthest army away, together with the caster moving in to support. And of course, the peasants are going to have to cross this map, and this is a huge map, and it's also a pretty neat one. I think I remember this map being used in a quest battle in the Champions of Undeath mod, when I did the Wallach Harkin slash Abarash campaign. One of the quests against the sort of special vampire coast units was here, which was one of the points at which I learned that they also got superpowered units in that particular campaign. There was some real nasty stuff, but anyway, I digress. We have closed the distance with the armies as best we can. The enemy lord, the enemy Tomb King, has been nearly defeated by Henri le Massif, who, thanks to his flying mount, reached him first, while Repanse charges towards an enemy Camarine War Sphinx to try to make sure that Mr. Ragni Brynbright does not die. There we go, and for at least a little while, we're going to have Henri help out against the Cameron War Sphinx. There's a lot of HP on that big boy, and we got to start bringing it down. It looks like we just managed to keep this first army alive before the peasants even got here. We're 2.5 minutes into the battle, and they have not yet reached the fight. And we can't even wait for them this time around because we have to fight. Here, last time we fought the Darkness Daughters, I didn't pay attention to the Luminarchs too much, but this time they're being quite useful. Sitting up on this hill far, far away from the battle and firing away from or at the Hyro Titan. It is being kept in place by a couple of units of Slayers, which have been nearly destroyed, but thanks to their unbreakability, have to be killed off to a man or to a dwarf. And this allows our... Shem's Burning Gaze coming in from the Higher Titan, hitting, I think, another one of the poor Dwarfen units. But all the while... There we go. The Light of Hish is not solely used by the enemy Higher Titan there, and it looks like... one or two more hits from those Luminarchs will bring the big boy down. Come on. And they're pretty far away. What's their range at? 375. Pretty good. And at least this is not the type of map that seems to interfere with them all that much, and they have been able to actually land their shot. This is a pretty big tower, towering enemy. And down he goes, seemingly crushing several of the last Slayers beneath him. Which I guess they can appreciate. Anyway, looks like Repanse is busy distracting a unit of Necropolis Knights with halberds, which have surrounded her. And she's facing off against them a one-on-one while Henri deals with the other stuff, bringing the occasional knight down. She will take some damage to them, I'm sure, is down to about half of her HP, but we can heal her up as needed if needed. The enemy Cameron War Sphinx has at this point nearly been defeated by Henri le Massif. Big boy versus big boy in a way. I expected that to be the final blow, but I guess this one will be. There we go. The souls leave the construct and it falls to the ground, and the battle is still in the enemy's favor. And Ragni Brunbright is down to about 20% of his HP, and our peasants still trying to cross over to here 4 minutes in. At the very least, they found a couple of units that they closed the distance with. This might have actually been a summoned unit of Ushabti, I'm not sure. Plus the fastest, in some ways, the fastest moving unit, i.e. that Tomb Scorpion simply burrowed through the lines of dwarfs. Alrighty, how we doing otherwise? Looks like Repanse has nearly defeated their Necropolis Knights, and they're attempting to back off. Our extra units of Knights have now arrived and have hunted down all the enemy's supporting units of Ushabti with Great Bow. There is still another unit of Ushabti chasing down Hargrim's Stone Shatter, who are similarly trying to keep alive, but another of the enemy lords has been defeated. And this time by Henri with a little bit of help from our friar. And hey, you want to not burn our whatever, burn the peasants. As long as you're not burning the knights. I suppose. Although this is Repanse, so she might not be super happy about you burning the peasants either. Looks like they did at least hit the knights a little bit, but looks like none of them died this time. While either way, it looks like the bounce power now shifts to 90-95% in our favor. The Necropolis Knights are gone at last, and only a few enemies remain on the map. We were able to keep all of the Dwarfen Lords alive. And does anybody know, I think this is the first time I've ever done this particular quest with Repanse, if any one of the Dwarfen Lords dies, do you actually lose? Because there is, again, there's an objective thing here that says keep them alive. I don't actually know whether it would actually make you lose if they die, though. But I am curious, because this one was really, really far away. I mean, we started all the way over here, up here on this hill, and had to go all this way. Imagine if we had less knights. We would never have been able to get into combat in the similar way that most of the peasants were not able to reach it in time, and had to leave it to the knights to do the work. But anyway, with that, the last of the Tomb Kings falls, and a heroic victory brings us the Sword of Lyonesse. Ooh, what do we have here? A little Sphinx statue? He looks happy. You get pets. Oh, alrighty, there we go. I can't believe we still effectively have escort quest like battles in this, the year of Our Lady 2026, and the dwarfs are not looking super competent here because they were almost all wiped out by the time we got to them, especially our non-knightly units. Our peasants took like 6 minutes just to travel across that gigantic map. If we didn't have the knights to get ready, I mean, look at the kill count. These guys are barely able to make it to the fight. On the bright side, our two Luminarchs got 7,000 damage apiece, and they knocked out that Hierotitan. Granted, not before it killed 114, I think, Slayers, and did 13,000 damage, but still solid. And our Knights Errant, 50,000 damage on the Lyonesse d'Antan, actually beating out all of the Knights of the Realm and the questing Knights as well. Though and even in damage dealt as gold value. Very, very nice. Repanse basically locked down a enemy, I want to say, War Sphinx, not Necro Sphinx, and then proceeded to further lock down an enemy unit of Sepulchral Stock, no, an enemy unit of Necropolis Knights, and the Anonri kept flying around, killing off lords. Good fight. Very, very close, though, because these idiots were overrun, or at the very least were close to it. Anyway, we basically get no money out of this, so we'll execute the captives, I guess. We can travel a little bit further, a little bit faster, and there we go. We got the Sword of Lyonesse, giving us spell resistance reduction and enemy armor reduction, which is pretty interesting. It's a fairly significant power-up for Repanse herself, and she activates that on top of the additional weapon strength. She's going to be hitting pretty hard. Warrior, Purifier, Sword of Lyonesse completed. Oh, lovely. I do believe this also makes us immune to attrition for the 2 turns, so that's good. Now, I think in light of what we just did, Repanse, you are not going to the Badlands. Partly because we already have like 4 lords here fighting in Sartosa, and they'll just land here, and then they have to travel through friendly territory or go here, but we already have a bunch of lords out there, so I think you're going to travel through one of the sea lanes. And frankly, Alberic, you're frankly kind of in the same position. I did want you to do Lyonesse, but what's the likelihood you actually get to her in time? I mean, you can travel pretty far. Maybe we can get there in time. Well, we'll give it a try. And just because of who Alberic is and his whole theme and stuff, I feel like we will attempt it. No guarantee that it'll succeed, but the attempt will be there. And then no one can complain that I didn't attempt it. Anyway, Esme Dubois, you're going to keep following Repanse around. You've reached rank 11, meaning you have Peasant's Purpose. Oh, funnily enough, we don't need Arcane Wisdom anymore, but anyway. Go for Errantry against, gotta go Vampire Coast. And the reward is a holy icon, which we can hopefully transform into something not terrible. Not that 50% spell resistance is atrociously bad or anything, it's just that I feel like we can get better use out of it. But who knows, maybe we'll give that to some units that we don't want taking 1,000,000 Spirit Leeches. Who knows? Anyway, that was Repanse. So let's try to get back into the order of things here. Wait, did I move all of you guys? So Shilfoy is positioned where he's supposed to be. Ah, wait, no, he's supposed to go for the fell cargo. Alright, so go into regular stance. I don't even know if you were next in the order, but well, I guess you are now because you're moving, bud. And Leo is there. We will send Margot. Oh, there's nobody following Alberic around, eh? Sail to the wreck. Auto-resolve. A lot of standards of discipline here. Gleaming Pennant on the Friar. Standards of discipline on, I'm gonna say the Axemen. They're the most likely to actually rout. I don't see the Knights routing under most circumstances. Between immunity to psychology and 100 leadership, they're pretty darn likely to sit there. Anyway, we'll let her resolve this. A teensy bit of damage. Ransom those captives. Anything good? Well, money is good, but it isn't what I was looking for here. Now, you cannot switch stances. There is a shipwreck here that we could maybe pick up, or just land here and go after Rob Coughlin. We shall see. Like I said, we do have a lot of lords out here, which is why I was kind of hesitant about Alberic. There isn't another sea lane out here somewhere, is there? That would enable us to go back to... I think Bone Island... Huh, is Bone Island on the map? That's a question. Or is it not? I think it is not, judging by this. The map, I think, ends here. Right? Yeah. As in the Old World Classic map. Anyway, that was Repanse. Get back to her. Alright, so she's right here. Who's next? Armand Daquitaine, you're waiting. Margot. Walden, who are you again? Alright, you were supposed to follow Fulker, but if Gentleman Jenkins attacks, I would prefer him attacking, well, Fulker, not you. So we'll wait and we'll have you follow Alberic instead. Eleanor of the Braid. You were supposed to follow these guys, but you can't move right now, so that's fine. And Bowmen Beast Slayer. Ah, okay, so you guys. In fact, other than Bowmen, who still needs to move? Admin does not need to move. Adelard does need to move, so that's you two. At least I know where you are. Arnaud is devoted. You are waiting for one more turn to get your mage and your last faceless, and then you're going to be ready to go wherever we send you. Maybe to Norska. Have some of the Kislev units help them out, maybe. I'll think about it. And frankly, all of the armor piercing from the crossbows kind of makes sense against the Chaos Warriors to some degree. Admin is okay as an admin and doesn't need to move, and yeah, okay, we just had those two. Lovely. So in that light, how do we want to move you? Well, I guess we have no choice but to move you to Duchezzo. And frankly, I'd really like to take Scorsese before. Okay, auto-resolve this for obvious reasons, and occupy it. I know, the auto-resolve doesn't like this army, but not much we can do about it if we want to maintain the 8 billion artillery pieces. Go into Realm of Chivalry, please. The question with Beaumont is what we want to do. So, Pavona, you should be walled. You don't have Siege Attacker. And I don't believe anybody else in this army does. Meaning we can't take Pavona or anything else easily. We could besiege it, but then we could just as easily have Adelard take it next turn. Only we could have... We can't reach Scorsese. We could go all the way to Rafrafa, begin sieging Varezzo, but that would mean leaving Pavona to Adelard and hoping that these guys don't move on Scorsese before. I'd honestly rather risk doing this and trying to get to Scorsese before these guys. It's not that we really care about the territory, it's just that I really don't want more border Gwarts. There's already a lot of it. Alrighty, so you guys are in a good place, or as good as it's gonna get. Unfortunately, you're moving further away from the guys that are supposed to join your army, but that's life, and I believe those were the only ones that we needed to move. What? Oh! I almost did it again and forgot this. Alright, we'll do that in a second. Let's, since we got an additional 30k, we could potentially have some buildings that we can build. If we upgrade this place will be complete, but it doesn't really offer us anything. Maybe this is the time to upgrade a few of the duchy capitals. I was sort of holding out hope that we would get some materials at sea, and at that point could upgrade all the tier 5 duchy capitals. Could upgrade you. Yeah. I actually think that there was another place with a couple of those structures that would cost us another 6k, so I would like... Ooh, hello, San Luis, yes. I'm glad I clicked here. Gave him blight, ignored. Not you, a Stallion Plain, not you, not you. Lots of tier 5s, aha, yes, you and you. Oh, okay, that's more than 6k, but it is what it is. And Moslek. I could just get the 3,000 gold city watch up and running. I want those fortifications up and running either way. Vidavdan, you're kind of in the same position. Just build it so I don't have to look at it every turn. Blue Reach, go figure. There's another fortification to be built here. And we're running out of money now. Okay, you, fortifications, you're fine. You're at least far enough away from enemies that they shouldn't concern you. Kirik Dromar will upgrade you to the next tier. This is looking fine. What do we have here? Duchezzo. Oh, the newly taken Duchezzo, yes. You can start with the stone cutter and immediately upgrade the village. And what do we have here? We have a need of a farm is what we have. And I believe that's it. Wow. 30 gold. 30,000 gold. 30 gold. 30,000 gold gone just like that. Oh well. Skip. It was a really fun fight though, I gotta admit. Lost Valley. Go into... extensive patrols for the campaign movement range, since we're not keeping the place and we're giving it up to all of these idiots. And turn. And, oh. I forgot about the orc thing again, didn't I? Wow. And I just laughed at myself for forgetting about it, like a minute ago.
I am Morgiana,
Oh,
Fay Enchantress of
man.
Bretonnia.
I should really just stop doing that and just immediately fight stuff. I like to spread, you know, I do this to spread out the fights, and, yeah, it won't matter too much because one of the reasons that we did this was in order to move Luann next turn to go after here, so she won't... Well, in this particular case, it's not as bad because she can still move next turn, and because we'll use Angeline to take Calcmere, but it's still annoying. Crimson Skull, yes, once we get down there, we'll fight Khorne too. Everybody's asking us to join all these wars. Why don't you... Okay, it's Clan Ricta, so I got worried. I was like, oh no, are the Wood Elves attacking dwarfs again? Hopefully Arguelon never gets sight of these guys. Actually, speaking of Arguelon, how are you doing against these guys? You still fighting? Still doing stuff? Durthu doesn't seem to have taken any of their stuff. Go figure, I know Interwar inside of Ally. I assume Rictus is out here somewhere on this map? Well, they are still alive. Which is kind of interesting considering they're sandwiched between Karak-Kadrin and Karazakarak, both of which have grown reasonably well in this particular campaign. Keeping in mind that because this is Old World Classic and there's no Darklands, all the crazy nonsense coming out of the Darklands and attacking the dwarfs and obliterating them isn't here. And... Ha, clever. Retreat. It doesn't matter, though. It won't make any kind of difference. It's not like it's a walled settlement. I guess that army will lose the blessing of the lady, but who cares? If it ever becomes a real army, it can get it again. Alright, any other attacks? And what is this? Yes, they will sally out. I wanted Grail Guardians versus Blood Knights. And to some degree the Hex Rights, but hopefully they don't interfere. It's Tier 5 versus Tier 5. Obviously we're way more buffed up than they are, due to traits and techs and stuff, and the fact that they don't have red line buff since they're a garrison, but it's still a very nice garrison. Let's do it. Alrighty, here we go. I am so happy. Not only do we get to fight the vamps here, but it's a Dead Marshes style battle. Always love to see the zombies, the corpses, rising out of the muck and trudging towards the enemy. Anyway, we have got a couple of things that we want to do, i.e. have the Blood Knights and the Grail Guardians face off against each other, and this is going to be an interesting matchup. It's anti-large versus anti-large. The Terrorgeist versus the Paladin. We'll see who manages to carry the day between the two. Over on the left flank, we send our first unit of Grail Guardians into the fray against the Blood Knights. Of course, the Blood Knights are protected by a unit of Cairn Wraiths, which would actually be fairly threatening here, though luckily we do have magical damage and probably enough alpha to dish out severe damage to them. Nonetheless, we will have to be careful about it, as the Endesne loses about 10% of its HP and damage on the charge, and there's another unit of Cairn Wraiths coming in as well. Over on the right flank, we've got the enemy actually meeting us with Hex Wraiths first, rather than the Blood Knights. Hex Wraiths are going to be a little bit more fragile than a little bit more fragile than the Blood Knights, and we should be able to take care of them quickly. In theory. In practice, while we're busy with them, the Blood Knights with lances will charge in and hit our Grail Guardians in the flanks, dishing out a solid 10, 15, 20% damage to them. Ooh, that's certainly dangerous. And even with a Grail Banishment on them, they're dishing out plenty more damage in this 2-on-1. which most likely means we're going to need to use the Fay Enchantress in support. In the meantime, let's see how we're doing. So, our Grail Guardians have finally met something that is a danger to them, and the Blood Knights dish out plenty of damage while losing 10% of their own, so we're going to heal them up with a quick little Earthblood. In the meantime, it looks like the Paladin is fighting the Terrorgeist still, but is actually, by the looks of it, losing, and he's going to need to probably back off and get a heal because he will most likely rout. On the left flank, however, the Endesnay have nearly defeated the unit of Blood Knights, peeling away from one of the units of Cairn Wraiths, and having gotten admittedly a regrowth to heal them, and I believe another heal before that as well. So they've got their HP having recovered. And I mean, it's only fair. The enemy has Invocation of Nehek, so we should be using our regrowths here. Anyway, over on the right flank, we've got another Earthblood coming down, and we're going to pop off that Flesh to Stone on the Knights of Knee, as they have now lost 3 of their number to the Blood Knights, and we want no further of the Grail Guardians lost to this. But if anybody's gonna kill Grail Knights, it'll be a Blood Knight or a Chaos Knight, so this does feel appropriate. And the fighting will continue, and while we have Flesh to Stone between the Blessing of the Fay, which we actually pop specifically on these guys to get their HP recovering, as they're still stuck at about 50% of their HP, while we try to get back our cooldown on a regrowth. In the meantime, the shambling corpses, zombies, skeletons, and graveguard alike have crossed the marshes and are now engaging our piles of peasants and battle pilgrims in another relatively even fight. And again, I am extremely happy about all this. Alrighty, and our Paladin is flying away from that Terrorgeist, and instead we move the Fay Enchantress to take his spot. He will move to recover HP, while we heal him and whatever other units around, while the Fay Enchantress deals with the 50% HP remaining on the Terrorgeist. And it looks like interestingly, the Caravans decide not to go after her. Well, they probably would have had a bad time if they tried. She would have just killed them all with a spell or two, anyway. And instead, it looks like the Cairn Wraiths will close in and hit the flanks of one of our forces of battle pilgrims. And good for them, I suppose, as these guys don't have magical damage. But their stats are pretty darn up there. In the meantime, it looks like Morgiana has basically defeated the Terrorgeist, suffering a little bit of damage, but certainly doing better against it than the Paladin. Perhaps surprisingly, considering at least her melee defense is like half of that of the Paladin, but every time she casts a supporting spell on somebody else, the Earthblood activates and heals her while she fights and brings the enemy down. And plus the Iron Ice armor in combination with the with her Mortis Engine effect gives her a significant reduction on the enemy attack. Knights of Knee have finally managed to carry the day against the Blood Knights, but again with a lot of support required. And we'll try to join the Endesnay to deal with the Graveguard with great weapons, who did manage to at long last close with our holy hand grenade trebuchets. And this has got to be pretty horrifying, as well as the poor peasants are suddenly finding themselves surrounded by zombies, likely corpses buried in the muck of the swamp here. But luckily the Grail Guardians were here and will tear through those zombies, who will most likely silence the crews for a little while, but that's only one artillery piece and we still have the other one firing away. The Fay Enchantress, having dealt with that Terrorgeist, now moves to deal with the enemy Necromancer, and it looks like the Paladin, who was down to like 20% of his HP, and in fact routed at first, has recovered to full thanks to our healing, and has joined the fray once more, delivering the final blow to the Necromancer to redeem himself. Otherwise, it looks like the battle is very nearly done as the Graveguard begin melting away all across the battlefield, and these zombies fall, stomped right back into the muck from whence they came. And the battle is just about ours. There we go, one last charge from both the units of the Grail Guardians, and the last of the enemy disintegrate, and a close victory, but a victory well earned, with the 3 Grail Knight corpses or Grail Guardian corpses left behind, surrounded by the foes. But yeah, I love to see it, and keeping in mind that the enemy Blood Knights and Co. didn't really receive all that much healing support like you know, Invocation of Nehek and Van Hell's Dance Macabre and all that, which the AI could very much have done so to counter our own casting, but that's the AI for you. And just overall, a very good fight. Ah, that was absolutely magnificent. That was exactly what I wanted out of that fight. The Vamps may have lost, but they were absolutely no slouches. Now, this unit of Blood Knights tore apart 3 of the Grail Guardians, and keeping in mind that they dished out that 12k damage to that unit of Grail Guardians, which, if you think about it, 12k is probably close to the HP of the entire unit. How'd they take so much damage and not die? Because unlike the Vamps, or unlike these Blood Knights, we had Morgiana there to heal the Grail Guardians up, and even with the regrowth and the occasional Earthblood, they were still taking a ton of damage. Both of them, really. And they still did very, very well, though, and got a massive amount of damage dealt as gold value, with the End is Nay taking the prize with 56k damage dealt and 43k damage, while the Knights of Knee, which took more damage, I believe, were also fighting Blood Knights together with Hex rates, which is, well, it's a heck of a contest, isn't it? Thankfully, our heals enabled them to stay in combat long enough. Also, our paladin here almost got killed by the Terrorgeist up in the air and had to back off once it became apparent that he wasn't going to win the fight, despite his massive anti-large bonuses and despite his Colossal Strike, which is an even further anti-large bonus. But similarly, the Terrorgeist is an anti-large specialist and was able to defeat a fairly high-level paladin. I'm very, very happy to see it, and quite impressed as well. But then, similarly impressed as the Paladin backed off to get heals from, or await heals, for when Morgiana had a spare regrowth, or the Friar had a spare Light of the Lady, and Morgiana went and just obliterated the Terrorgeist while taking barely any damage at all. So, yeah. And got her to show off a little bit, even without the Green Knight or Amalric doing the heavy lifting in terms of duels. She obliterated the Terrorgeist no problem whatsoever. As for everybody else, our peasantry got a lot of fighting, and looks like nothing to lose with 11k damage, and Les Miserables with 12k damage both did very well. As for the units of these guys, and by these guys I mean the Battle Pilgrims, we have a solid 12k, which is decent, keeping in mind again that the various peasant mobs are sort of blobbed up together with the Battle Pilgrims, which makes sense as to why they didn't get quite as many kills, but still did pretty well all together. And this way they both got to fight, which I like to see. As for these two, our Grail Relics, 2.4k damage and 16 kills on no horse needed, and also 16 kills, but a little bit less damage on the Never-Ending Night. Maybe one killed zombies and one killed Graveguard, I don't know, but I still find it funny when they get any kills. And you know what? 16 undead bashed to death by, or bashed into true death by a skeleton of a horse is amusing, entertaining, and ironic. I love it. What about these two? 23k for Holy Hand Grenade, slightly beating out the Farquads. I really, really enjoyed that fight. Occupy. Alrighty, and then let's see what... What you want, bud? Military Alliance. Not right now. I may actually use that for, you know, the purposes of trading some stuff. Also, assuming that there is no further fight here... there is a further fight here, never mind, and it's Gentleman Jenkins with... Oh, I really wanted to take a look at what these guys do. Alright, I'm excited. I'm very excited. We're definitely fighting this. Alright, well, away we go then. Oh wow, we are fairly damaged. We're gonna have to be careful here, aren't we? Especially against all those range. Whoa. Get the Gleaming Pennant, pop it on, I guess, the Friar. I mean, it's an aura. Disciplined is rather useless, but... Or we could pop it onto the Grail Relic for more leadership buffs. Whatever, doesn't matter, go.
The lady rewards valor. Show her that yours shines most bright.
Alrighty, here we go. We got Folkar and his mace there, plus the greatsword that he has on his back as well. And he's got a sidearm of an axe as well as an arming sword. Wow, this guy has 4 melee weapons plus a shield. That's probably got to get in the way. Plus, I'd imagine he'd probably have like a dagger somewhere as well to get through some enemy armor and such if needed. But anyway, yeah, that's a heck of a lot of weaponry. I like it. I like it a lot. Especially since he's on foot. Anyway, here we go. I'm very interested in Gentleman Jenkins and all of these little pirate units that he's got here. There's Mr. Jenkins himself with the grog carriers, which are obviously making the equivalent of our Grail Relic here, just holding a grog barrel. Absolutely fantastic. And I like these sort of semi-destroyed shields that they've got there. Ooh, we got the pirate gunnery mob with blunderbusses. Oh, those would have been ideal for an exile army for us if we could have recruited them ourselves, but oh well, what can you do? Here we've got the pirate gunnery mob with handguns. What else do we have? I just want to take a look at all these units. And buccaneers with swords and bombs. Oh my, that's going to be an issue. And ooh, I like that they're all colorful. I like it a lot. And just like our own knights are. It seems they've got the twin blades in addition to the bombs. We've also got buccaneers with great axes, and every single one of these guys has a hat or a. That's a lot of hats actually. Hat or a bandana or whatever covering their head. I don't know how much that's going to help, but, you know, and gotta have the hats. And what else do we have here? Pirate deckhands with polearms as well. Yeah, they got access to all you need to have a nice, varied infantry force. These guys have some pretty fancy hats. Look at this guy. Is he the leader of this little army? Is he like a captain, a little sub-commander? No, these guys, there's another guy with a fancy equivalent hat. Anyway, I think that's it, minus the mortars, but I think these are maybe standard Imperial mortars. No, they still got the pirate crews. I like it. I like it a lot. And lastly, we have the non-rotting regular Prometheans. I'm not actually sure I can tell them apart from rotting Prometheans. But these guys are living rather than dead. Which I still think Lyonesse should have by default. But anyway, here we go. We have started the battle off by moving through with our most damaged units through the trees, our Brigands and our less than half HP flayers here. We're going to close the distance with the pirate deckhands. We're going to charge in together with our facelesses. Our faceless. I guess the plural of faceless is faceless. And we're going to start hacking the enemy apart. And these are pirate deckhands. Oh, there's also... I didn't actually see this unit with their shields. Neat. Huh, that looks like... Is that a Bretonnian or Imperial shield? The map can't go lower, unfortunately. I'd love to see the design on it. I thought I saw an eagle, but either way, neat. Alrighty, honestly, with the color scheme, the varied color scheme on the Buccaneers, they would look pretty darn good with the... with Knights of the Realm. Go figure. Anyway, speaking of knights, our 2 units of Knights of the Realm will close the distance and smash into the enemy lines, while our 2 foot knights, i.e. our questing knights, move towards the enemy as well. Folkar himself has closed the distance with Gentleman Jenkins and has taken about 40% of his HP. Using his mace to take Mr. Jenkins on here. I like his big old pauldron. But he has no chance of winning against Folkar and all of his weapons. Even if he should lose the mace, he has plenty more to choose from. And 1 more hit, I believe. No, 2 more hits. But it looks like Jenkins will book it on out of there. And there we go. Jenkins loses his head. The knights continue riding through the enemy ranks while the foot knights hack the enemy apart with their greatswords. Although admittedly, I would imagine that the Buccaneers with great weapons, great axes, can do plenty of damage to our knights if they're not careful, especially if they get bogged down by the polearms. Though I do note that the enemy polearms, though they do seem to still have SFO stats with a massive 17,000 HP, actually higher than our men-at-arms, interestingly speaking. I wonder why that would be. What basis would the pirates have for having a higher HP than a men-at-arms with polearms? But anyway, what they don't have, however, is cavalry bane on them, which in SFO is pretty darn devastating, and that they would, I'm sure, want. Anyway, with that, it looks like Gentleman Jenkins's army breaks, and all of those pirates, buccaneers, whatnot, break as well. Though they are kind of hard to tell apart from our own units, just once again by virtue of the fact that they have a similar sort of color scheme situation than we do. But yeah, I would love to play Sartosa with the Gentleman Jenkins, with access to all of these Gentleman Jenkins Pirates units. Alrighty, there we go. Gentleman Jenkins and his pirate crew defeated at sea by Folkjar, and, well, it was another really fun fight. We got 3 amazing fights. This particular episode, I think, might be my favorite episode of the campaign. That sort of Lyonesse battle was pretty intense. The vampire counts actually standing up to our Grail Guardians and our Paladins, and just all around. Some very fun stuff. Well done to Folkjar. We are the Macemen getting 6.4k damage, but being beaten out by one of the unnamed ones at 14k. They were in the very center of the formation, so they perhaps got some easier targets. 16k on the Flayers and 16k on one of the regular Brigands, cutting apart the enemy deckhands with those cutlasses of theirs, because we have twice as many swords with the twin blade units. And of course we got more damage on the Knights of the Realm than we did theoretically on the questing knights, by virtue of the fact that they were able to charge through stuff and such. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe when we do any battles at sea... Well, I mean, technically we're on islands, but what if when we do any battles at sea, we force dismount all of our knights? But I think these two don't have the dismount, whereas the questing knights are meant to be dismounted in this particular army. Anyway, oh, and Folkjar, of course, defeating the enemy lord. Anyway, a very, very nice and enjoyable fight. I am very happy that they chose to attack us. And I think, hey, an amateur discovered who? Oh, okay, sure. Thanks for letting me know. Game? Okay. Enemy killed in battle, confident at whatever. Armor of the Midsummer Sun, a free relic sword. Nice for our nameless, faceless, whatever. Technology, crownless. Technology researched. A lion's cloak for Adelard. Cloak of pure white fur harvested by Duke Adelard himself. This cloak can withstand the harshest blows. Really? It's only got 10 armor. And it's only damage resistance when out of melee. It's actually a terrible item. And good for maybe a ranged unit. Actually, this would be great on Bertrand, I guess, but not so much for you, buddy. Oh, yay. Damage and missile resistance when out of melee. Whoop-de-doo. And then 10 armor when you're in melee. And then... But it's all good. If you're, we can make up for it with other items. Royal Pegasus for admin. No, not for admin. And there we go. That's the end of the turn. Now, I think with that, I'm going to call this episode here. I feel like ending on this high note, as we had 3 fantastic fights. We've got a new turn and thus new admin to do. A decent amount of which, or at least some of which, I will take care of between the episodes as we continue on next time. I think there's not too many episodes left in this particular campaign, as once again the interest has been dropping for a while, but I'd still like to get a few more fights going. And of course we do still have the final errantry war, or errantry against chaos. Wars of Errantry Chaos Wastes, and the final battle that we have to fight. Although I feel like I'd like to have the Green Knight present in it. I don't know, I'll think about it. Either way, more to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, as they will determine just how many more episodes this campaign gets. All glory to the algorithm. I will try not to forget this stupid location next time. And thanks for watching.